Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Weishuhn. If you enjoy real-world hunting and fishing talk, you're really going to enjoy listening to my good friend, Luke Clayton, and his guest for the next hour.
This is David Fox, and welcome to Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Luke has been a recognized outdoors writer for the past 3 decades and writes for a host of outdoor publications. Luke pens a weekly newspaper outdoors column that appears in over 40 Texas newspapers. Luke is on the pro staff of Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything air gun related. Smoking techs, electric smokers, feel free to contact Luke through his website, catfishradio.org. Now let's join Luke and his guests for this week's show.
Well, my friends, it is now Campfire Talk time with Mr. Larry Weishuhn. Larry's in the woods right now. I just got out of the woods. I'm talking about 15 minutes ago, so I got a feeling we're going to be talking about deer hunting. Larry, thanks for taking a break from the rattling and being with us.
Well, it's always a pleasure, as you well know, Luke. It's one of my favorite things that I've been doing now with you for, good gosh, we're headed toward 19 years. And got to thank DSC, Conservation Education Hunter Advocacy, hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable, that we're putting to good use here in the next few days. Stealth Vision with their optics, and of course, Vineyard Max. Vineyard Max makes the fantastic Vineyard Max deer bait that we've been using, and I saw the results of some of that this morning. And of course, they do feeders and a few other things as well too. And then Taurus, I do a lot of stuff with their handguns, and then too, Mossberg, of course, they're made here in Texas, and of course, I know this goes way beyond Texas once it goes into the podcast. But yeah, you're right. Look, it was a good morning. It was pretty darn pleasant. I'm spending a little time with Mr. Edgar Davis and Mr. Edgar Cotton and Mr. David Cotton, and we've been out trying to rattle up a buck this morning. Hadn't done any good at this point, but it's still early. Just kind of took a break real quick so you and I could visit.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you what, and I got up early and I made a huge, long drive. I had to go almost half a mile, but I sat in a little pop-up with my bow this morning and saw a 2.5-year-old buck. I didn't have a shot. I wouldn't have shot anyway. He's probably 14-inch, but little 8-point, a 2-year-old deer. But, it's been so warm. It is. The morning hunts, to be honest with you, are the only ones I've been getting excited about. And I guess it's my fault, but the evening, afternoons, I haven't even hunted in the afternoons. But that's all about to change. It's the first, this show will air the 1st of November, so by golly, this is the opener of the Texas deer season, of the general season of the north part. Yeah, absolutely.
I was very fortunate to spend some time up on the Choctaw with Dusty Vickery, and I was up there with the Avent technology people and Jim Bequette and some other guys, and those folks up there did fantastic. I did pretty good. We'll talk about that deer somewhere down the way. I'm not ready to really talk too much about it yet, but had an absolutely great hunt. Of course, I was under house arrest there for about a month with a little bit of a health problem, and so, gosh, it was good to get out. And of course, now I'm back to normal, and that's one of the reasons. Every chance I get here, I'm going to be out in the woods.
I know
it's that time. We were talking about rattling this morning. In throughout the northeastern part of the state, this week right now, to me, is that we're looking at in the last couple of days that's probably the prime time to rattle, because the rut's kicked off in northeast Texas. And it looks like it's a little bit early a lot of other places as well too. I had to do a little bit of driving a little bit farther west, and usually when the rut's going on, unfortunately you see a fair number of dead deer on the road, both bucks and does, and saw quite a few deer out west of the Fort Worth, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I got a feeling it looks like this rut may be a little bit early this year compared to what we normally expect it to. But again, right now in the northeastern part of the state of Texas and in that kind of habitat across the southern areas, you want to take those rattling horns, get out there and keep getting them horns together throughout the day, because you never know what's going to step out of the woods once you do.
That's true. They ought to be chasing like crazy. Folks, we're recording this a few days ahead of time. So we I've hunted right here most of my life. So Larry's exactly right. They'll buy the opener up here all throughout Northeast Texas. The bucks ought to be chasing really, and they're going to be in hot pursuit. Yeah, Larry, I'm here by the house. It's crazy. It's a little, the spot I'm talking about. I call it the gate. I've got one of these see-through pop-up blinds that you can see out of, and I just set that thing up 3 days ago, and in my pocket right now is the disc off that trail camera. I cannot wait to plug that in and see what's been coming in out there, But yeah, and I talked to Mr. Jeff Rice, planning on being there, going up to his place for an evening and hunt and a morning hunt. It's only about, not that far from me, hour and a half, something like that. And but it is time, and folks are going to be listening to us on opening day. By golly, as I wrote it in my newspaper column for many years, campfires will be burning bright all over. And tonight, it's time to, folks, if you may be listening to our podcast after the radio stations run the show, but trust me, you're kindred spirits with me and Mr. Weishuhn.
Amen.
We go back a long way to many, many, many opening days, don't we, Larry?
Yes, sir, we do, and looking forward to a whole lot more. But I love the campfire situation. Of course, that's the personal podcast that does these campfires. Mm-hmm. But we've got an opportunity coming up here, actually in a week from today, I think it is.
Yes.
You want to tell folks about that? Because we're going to be up here in this part of the world, having hunted a little bit, and then we're going to run over and have some books available and tell some stories and all that kind of good stuff. And just tell them where we're going to be.
Sure. The 8th, which is next Saturday. Assuming you're listening to us on the opener of deer season in North Texas, November the 1st. Well, next Saturday, November the 8th, Larry's going to be with me. We're going to have Bill Carey, Striper Express is coming up. But several guys that make their living hunting and fishing are going to show up. We're going to have it's going to be in Seagoville, Texas, at the Dash for Cash pawn shop. They got an outdoor lot there. We're just going to have fun. But we're going to have some barbecue there and free. It's going to be free, everything. It's people say, what are we going to do? What's it? Well, what it's going to be is like if we were all around the campfire, and me and Larry and I and all of you guys out there, we're just going to have a good time, talk about hunting and fishing. You'll get to meet Larry. Heck, I know a lot of you've never had the chance. You've seen him on TV and all that, but you'll get to spend some time with Larry, and I'll be there. We'll have our books. Man, you don't have to buy a book. But, Larry, I guess the best way to find it, it's on, you can Google Dash for Cash Pawn Shop, Seagoville, Texas, Seagoville, Seagoville, Texas. It's on Hall Street. And I think we've got a spot on my catfishradio.org on the website about it, but it's easy to find. If you need any more information on it, Larry, what they could do is just email me through catfishradio.org, or my email address is my name, Luke Clayton, 1950 at Gmail. Fire me you might want to be there and whatever. There's no rigid rules on this one. It's just going to be fun, Larry.
It really is, and we're not going to keep deep people out of the deer woods too, because we got this thing set up. What time does it start? Like at 10 o'clock or something like that?
10 to 3, and I expect
10 to 3.
I bet a lot of people will be showing up like 11, 11:30, or 12.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but it's in Kaufman County, and Larry, it's right on Highway 175, which runs southeast out off of LBJ Freeway or I-20. Run southeast, you just hit 175 like you were going to Athens or Kaufman, and from Interstate 20 there, it's only about 5 miles to Seagoville, so it's easy to find. And one thing I forgot to tell you, I've got this, this round fire pit. We have to have some sort of a campfire, but I can't handle this thing by myself. But I've got the guys at the pawn shop at the Dash for Cash. They're going to bring a truck, and 2 or 3 of them going to come out. And we're going to load that thing up, and we will have a campfire, by golly,
I tell you what, hopefully it'll be cool enough to where we can really enjoy it. Even if it's not, it could be 90 degrees and I'd still be sitting around the campfire when it's lit. So
I know it. Me and you'd be out there as well. Well, hopefully that we'll have some cool weather. I know that's what we're all waiting on, and there's no way that recording this ahead of time, friends, that Larry and I can predict what the weather is going to be like on the 1st of November. But we hope it's going to be like we all want it, nice and chilly in the mornings, and maybe get up in the. I don't know if it's okay if it gets in the 70s on opening day, but I don't want any 90-degree weather.
well, here's the deal. It ain't gonna make a bit of difference whether it's raining, sunshine, snowing, icing,
I know
or
it.
100 degrees. You and I are gonna be there and looking forward to visiting with a lot of people. And bring us some pictures. I'd love to see the love
Oh
looking
yeah.
at pictures of what you and your family have taken. And if you hadn't shot one yet this year, what did you shoot last year? Bring us some photographs.
Heck yeah.
I love listening to hunting stories kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm not opposed to telling one, but I darn sure love listening to them as
I,
well too.
I do too, Larry. Well, let's let everybody get to their deer hunting today or whatever
Yes,
they're
sir.
up to, and you get back with them rattling horns out there in Kaufman County with our buddies David and Edgar, and rattle up something and see. I want to report though when you get through and let me know what's going on. How about that?
You've got a deal, sir.
Well, friends, Mr. Larry Weishuhn is going to tell you about the finest hunting optics that we have ever found.
Luke, these are called Stealth Vision. They come from Crockett, Texas. Dr. John McCall developed them. They're 34 millimeter tubes as opposed to the narrower tubes, so more light transmission. They have a little green light that comes on. That scope is level because that's when you want to pull the trigger. They have an optional lighted reticle as well too, and a whole lot of other products. And folks can learn more about them by going to stealthvision.com.
Folks, I want to introduce you to Vineyard Max. Now, this is an awesome deer attractant, a food attractant that's made with hammer milled grape skin, dried hammer milled grape skins. It has a mixture of rice bran and also corn chops. Very effective. Deer can smell the scent of grapes from a long way, and it brings them in. I've used it in West Texas out with Larry Weishuhn, and we were out there where deer are not even exposed to grapes, and they came right in. Also, Vineyard Max has a very good line of game and fish feeders. Check them out online, vineyardmax.net. Friends, I want to tell you about an awesome camping destination, Wind Point Park on Lake Tawakoni. It's over on the far east side, kind of the northeast side of the lake. It's a pristine park. You can go there and view, I think they estimated a couple of hundred deer on that couple of hundred acres there. Cabins, beautiful RV park, fishing piers, docks. It's got everything you'd want in an outdoor destination. Check them out online at windpointparktx.com. Folks, this segment is made possible by Smoking Tex electric smokers that I've been using a long time, Ultramatic feeders. I'd like you to check out the big bore air gun that I've done a great deal of hunting with. It's the Seneca Dragon Claw, 50 caliber, pressures up to 3,000 psi, and it looks like a conventional rifle. Wooden stock. I think you'll like the appearance, and I know you'll like the performance. It shoots not only bullets, but also air bolts as well, tipped with a broadhead. Check it out. It's the Seneca Dragon Claw. Well, friends, if you were listening to our opener, Mr. Whitetail is over rattling antlers for some good buddies of ours, the Cottons over in Kaufman County. Let's do something different. What do you say? Let's go all the way up and visit with a friend of mine, Mr. Samuel Old in Virginia, by golly. Samuel, thanks for being with us, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me on, Luke. It's a pleasure.
Well, we cover the gamut. Folks, now, Samuel, let me describe who he is. He's one of the most astute managers of deer and habitat that I know. He's got a beautiful place. If you were in Texas, we'd be calling it a ranch. Sam's going to call it a farm up there. Some of the most pristine habitat that I've never been there. I hope to be there one day, go up and visit with them. The beautiful creek runs through the place. He's just built an I think it's called an Airbnb, but it's really a neat cabin back in the woods, or a place that you're going to offer for people to come up and enjoy that piece of heaven, aren't you?
Yes, sir. It's my old home place where I grew up. There were 6 of us kids there, and it was a farm. We raised cattle, hogs, chickens, what have you. And since then, of course, my dad passed in 2012, and since then I've taken up about all the fences, which most of them were down anyway. And I've had people ask me, they say, well, why don't you get cattle back? Well, I've told them, to refence this place, it would be an astronomical cost.
It costs. Well, let's talk about deer, Sam. Now, folks, Sam and I were visiting. We talked quite a bit on the phone, and so let's compare Texas deer hunting to hunting in Virginia. Now, that's in the mountain range up there. What's the name of it, Samuel?
We're kind of in the Blue Ridge Mountain.
Bluegrass country. Bluegrass country. Yeah, kind of. I've never been there, but I feel I probably should have been there all my life. Now, okay, so the deer, Sam, you've got some does that weigh an honest 200 pounds. I know you do, don't you?
Yes, sir. Here on my place, before I started this management program, we had some big deer. We had some big does back then. But since I started my management program, I'm very selective on the does that anybody takes here, and I don't let a whole lot of people hunt here. But, I sort of model it. Here again, I want to go back just for a second to cattle. After a cattle herd, you don't shoot your best cows, you don't shoot your best bulls. And if you want bigger calves, you got to manage that way. Mm-hmm. So I want bigger fawns, and the bigger fawns bring on bigger does and bigger bucks later on. And in other words, it's a genetics thing,
Yeah, for sure.
And so. Since I've been doing this, I've gotten some does up 200 pounds and plus.
Now that is a big buck in Texas. It is. I'm telling you, because I've hunted Texas all my life. Now let's shift over to the bucks that I know I've seen pictures of them. My gosh, they look like they weigh 300 pounds. I bet they do. Some of them.
They will. I think I've told you before, Larry looked at one with me, and I told him, I sent the video of it to him, and he said, I told him, I said, Larry, I believe this buck is probably 250 pounds. And he said, no, he said, that's a 300 pounds plus. And that particular buck, I had plenty of chances to take him if I wanted to, but I didn't. I just let him walk because I knew that he was passing on some good genes.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I think right now, Luke, I am seeing some of his offspring, and some of the bucks I've got right now, I know they will go between 250 and 300 pounds. If I know I've got some that'll go over that. But now this year, as compared to last year, we've got a huge acorn crop this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get a chance to do a whole lot with my food plots this year due to health problems, but I'm not seeing as many as I was, but they don't have to come out. All they got to do is lay down and eat acorns, and, and they're happy.
Yeah, I know it. It makes it tough. Here in Texas, I live southeast of Dallas, only about 30 miles, but I live at the junction of two rivers, the Trinity River. You've heard about the Trinity, and the East Fork. Within the junction of those two are within a few miles of where I live. 15,000 acre cattle ranch on one side of me and a 2,500 acre wetland on the other. But a lot of, there's probably 1,500 people live in this community, but it's an amazing place for deer and hogs.
Mm-hmm.
So the hogs come in and clean. It takes about 3 weeks. That's about all.
Mm-hmm.
They find those those oaks that are dropping acorns quickly, and they clean them up. So right now, I mean, everything is on acorns right here, and right where I live is a pretty heavy acorn crop. I've got a bunch of oaks on my little 5 acres, and man, the ground's covered with them. So.
Oh yeah.
But that's deer hunting is deer hunting. So up there, I would assume if you're hunting, when does rifle season open in your area there?
I think the rifle season comes in on let's see, I got to look at my calendar here right quick, on Saturday the 15th.
The 15th, yes. Okay.
Yes, sir. And this year they have extended the rifle season 2 weeks, and it doesn't go out until the 13th of December. So we've got a month of rifle season here this year.
Okay. Well, and then by then, hopefully, a lot of the acorns will be scarfed up, and deer will be on. Well, the rut. When does the rut really peak in your part of the world up there?
About November 21st, usually is when you between November 15th and the 21st, but usually the later rut, because of let's say this, I don't want to say global warming, but it's been staying a little warmer up here in the fall than it usually is. But buddy, once those fronts hit, that's when they kick in. That's when I got my 10-pointer last year. And but you were talking about your acorns there. Don't you folks have pecans there also?
We do. I have a friend down the road about a mile that has wild native pecans. That's the little ones,
Yes, sir.
Hundreds of bunches of them, and those hogs and deer come in. And right now, the pecans are beginning to fall. Just beginning. But I know by the opener of your deer season, that's when a good norther come in. It'll shake them out of those trees. But and I've watched deer eat. I used to think, deer won't eat pecans. Well, they'll crunch those things like crazy, won't they?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. That's why I asked you about it. We don't have them up here.
No,
there might be people that might plant one in the yard here and there, but
not common.
No, I know they're not. They don't do as well up here. Even whether they're a yard tree or not, as they do down there.
I would like to. Yeah, I'd hate to keep interrupting you, but so many questions that I have about that part of the world. You're going to be offering hunts. I know you've told me you are. You've got down here in Texas, we'd call it a cabin. It's just I've seen pictures of your home place. It's been totally remodeled. But at some point, you're going to offer some select hunts up there, aren't you?
Absolutely. This year, I'm just offering it as just a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I've got, there's a national forest or public hunting lands about a mile up the road from me. And for this year, and until I get everything geared up, for building little shooting huts or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to offer hunts this year particularly, but probably next year.
Yeah.
And there's going to be fishing in the creek. And Luke, the thing is this, of course, when you do things like this, you got to just sort of, excuse me, you got to watch liability, And,
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm sure people will understand that, that I'm not going to offer it this year quite, but it takes a little time to get this stuff geared up.
Yeah,
And,
it does.
But at the same time, these deer that are on me, I've only got 130 acres, okay? And but right in behind me is that national forest, and so these bucks that I'm seeing here on my place, don't be fooled. They'll go back there to those mountains later on, and they'll be up in those deep hollows and up toward the tops of those mountains, and that's the place to be. And there are a lot of guys that I know have killed some huge bucks back there that I've seen here. So it's not just on my place. It's Craig County, the county that I live in here, is about 65% national forest. And acreage-wise, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I meant to look at it the other day. I have looked at it, but I can't remember what it is. But the deer here, don't get me wrong, and here again, your buddy Larry and I have talked about this. What I do here directly affects deer for miles around. The herds and the health of them, and I've got other neighbors that do the same thing.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And that helps a lot.
Samuel, what someone could do is you could be a source of information for traveling Texans. And after all of our great radio stations run this show, it becomes a podcast, Catfish Radio with Luke Clayton and friends. So,
yes, sir.
Somebody wanting to hunt some big old deer, we hunters, we plan ahead. So they can always contact you through me, if no other way, through my website, catfishradio.org. I promise to hook you up with Samuel if you're interested in what I think would be just an awesome hunt, a place to hunt, and a beautiful country up there in Virginia. But I'd be happy to do that, Sam. And then as we go along, you get a little bit, I know somebody could probably headquarter there this year you'll have it ready at your place,
sure.
And then
sure
hunt the local, the forest land. But anyway, it's been great having you on. Virginia is a destination, in my opinion, for totally different hunting, folks, than we do here in Texas. And not so much, it's still deer hunting, but it's just hunting maybe bigger deer, bigger bodied deer, and in some way different country. So, Sam, we'll get you back again. How about that? And let's talk some more about this and as you go along, and hopefully we'll get some people that would like to experience where you live and the kind of hunting that you get to do. How about that?
That sounds good. And like I say, we're going to be on the Airbnb listing soon, and they can look me up there also. And it'll be called Craig's Creek Shady Rest is what it's called.
Craig's Creek Shady Rest. Okay, well, I'll let you get back to your work. I know you're busy, and I do appreciate you taking some time to be with us, Sam.
Thank you, sir.
I want to tell you about a one-stop shop for everything related to game feeders and fish feeders, Ultramatic Feeders. I've been using components and feeders from Ultramatic Feeders for 20-something years, I guess. They have the remote, which you can remotely activate your feeder with, the timer, which is the most simple timer that I've ever found on a game feeder. And then the eliminator. Check these out. They are worked on centrifugal force, and they seal off the corn supply so coons and squirrels can't get to the corn. Check them out. Ultramatic Feeders, you could go online to ultramaticfeeders.com. Folks, let's talk a little outdoor cooking. Let me tell you about an electric smoker that I've been using for 15 years, I guess. Smoking Tex electric smokers. If you're tired of staying up all night keeping that wood fire burning when you're barbecuing, give Smoking Tex a try. They're made to last a lifetime. You can check them out at smokingtex.com. That's SMOKINTEX.com. For seasonings, anything to do with outdoor cooking, all kind of jerky seasonings, sausage seasonings, Butcher Packer Supply. That's butcherpackersupply.com. butcher-packer.com. I think the website is butcher-packer.com.
Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the
Friends, this segment is made possible by Platinum Cadillac and Chevrolet in Terrell, Texas. Stop by and visit with my buddy Mr. Justin Rudd and his team of experts and let them put you in a new Chevy pickup or a Cadillac or whatever you might be in the market for. Also, the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma. Check them out at ChoctawHuntingLodge.com. Also made possible by Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Well, friends, it is hunting season. I don't need to tell any of you folks that. But we've had a lot of hunting talk. We can't abandon the catfishing, by golly. And I think it would be appropriate if we go down to Lake Tawakoni. My buddy, guide Tony Pennebaker down there, has been sacking up what we call eater blues, making some people happy and some people well fed at fish fries. So let's talk catfishing. Tony, how you doing this morning, buddy?
I'm doing great, Luke. It's all good here.
Good deal. That's what I like to hear, man. I saw Facebook, actually, yesterday evening. You had some folks out. I know you've been busy catfishing, but you had a table full of those blue catfish that I like. They would look like they'd weigh from 4 to, 15 pounds,
Yeah, that's about. I think our biggest one is 15, 16 pounds, somewhere in there.
Yep. Well, fall, I learned this a long time ago, Tony. I used to just I still hunt deer, hogs a lot in the fall. It's hunting season. We know that. But I learned a long time ago that if you'll break away from that, it's some of the best fishing, most comfortable fishing of the year, isn't it? Get out there and also those catfish fillets are good at deer camp too.
Oh yes, yeah. You can collect up some good fish to cook at deer camp, and it is like you say, the temps are nice, and it's not too cold, it's not too hot, it's just right.
It is. So let's, we talk about this every time I have you on. The trophy season, Tawakoni is one of the best trophy catfish lakes, but it's also one of the best lakes to catch either a mess of channel catfish or right now these eater blues. The big ones can come on any trip. I know that, Tony. You might be out there loading people up with 4 gallons of those eater-sized blue catfish fillets, and then bingo, the rod goes down, you got a 50-pounder on there. So you can catch them anytime, but that big fish bite, I don't know, it seems to really peak when the water begins to chill down a little bit more. Would you agree with that, or?
It gets better. I mean, the thermocline disappears.
That's it, yep.
And you can fish better, for one thing. You can catch them even with the thermocline out there, but just, you got to fish different. And it's just, to me, it's just easier once that thermocline's gone, and the fish are I guess you'd say they're more lively.
Yep.
But when that thermocline's down there, you got an area of water don't have any oxygen in it. And to me, that all of the water gets that way when you don't have wind for a month.
Mm-hmm.
All of the water gets a little bit depleted, not to the point where it's going to kill any fish or anything, just where it kind of makes them kind of blah. And when that changes, they'll go to biting better.
Tony, you could liken that to people or deer or wildlife or anything. August, just think about that. Like August, the end of July, it's hot. We don't get as hungry as we do when it's cooler. That's one way to look at it, but I know that's a fact. Those big fish turn on.
Oh yeah.
They start stocking up.
I think it has got a lot to do with the oxygen content throughout the entire water line. Just the more that's in there, the better they feel.
That's it.
And their old body's working, and they're hungry, and they're metabolizing their food, and they're wanting more.
Yep. Well, here's a good question for you, and I know the answer because I fished with you so very much. But if you were going to pick a bait to catch blue catfish right now, I mean, and you got your choice, and you do have your choice. You can get what you need up there. What bait would you use?
It's gizzard shad, to me, all the time. I mean, there are times some perch. They've been hitting perch pretty good as of lately.
Okay.
But if you just give me a choice, say you can have this one or that one, I'm going to choose gizzard shad.
Okay, here's my next
day
question.
Day in, day out.
All right, I already knew that, But so here's my next question. What size shad, and how are you going to cut him up? That sounds pretty simple, but it's a good question. What size shad, if you're going to pick the perfect shad, would you thread on some little 3-inch shad, or would you want to get a big one and cut him up?
If I want trophy catfish, big ones, I mean, you're talking 20 pounds up.
Yep.
I'm going to give me my choice. I'm going to choose 10-inch gizzard shad.
Okay.
I would prefer them over any of them.
Okay.
And you might plug on the head, the body. I mean, in these waters now, and I'm talking Lake Tawakoni, but I mean, you can get gizzard shad that are 18 inches long.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm going to cut him off right behind the head because I don't want any bigger bait than that. But and then cut him up in about 2-inch segments, back through the gut area and the gizzard. And I might take that big old gizzard out and just plug it on a hook by itself.
Right.
One of them beddings,
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, on average, just give me a bunch of 10-inch shad.
Now, let's stay with the 10-inch shad for a minute. How are you gonna rig them whole? Are you gonna cut them? How are you gonna put them on the hook?
I'm gonna still cut them. I'm gonna cut that thing. Gonna kind of fillet him back and cut him off.
Yeah. Sort
of angle and get rid of his tail.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna kind of expose his innards a little there. Not where they'll just fall out, but just kind of get the scent in the water. Somebody asked me the other day, why are you cutting him like that? I said, well, it just gets the scent in the water faster and better.
It makes sense.
Get him bleeding, get that scent in there.
That's where it's all about. What it's all about on these blues, I know that is. I asked the question because some people may think, well, you got a 10-inch, you're gonna put him on their hole, but no. Open that rascal
and
up.
You
could.
You can, put him on their hole if you want to. I mean,
right.
I just seem to catch them better if I don't. If I kind of shave them and open them up and cut a little off, and seem like the hit's better and the hookup's better.
Well, I'm on your
longer bait on.
Yes, I'm on your system there because I've seen it happen. And when you're you could be drifting with the wind, and this is one method that you use a lot, or the windsock, if it's real windy, to slow the boat down. But I have seen this happen so many times that you'll have several rods, say you're drifting or slow trolling, whatever you want to call it, you're moving along real slow, dragging those baits on that Santee rig. I've had it happen. You might cover 50 yards, you get a little tap, wait a minute, is that a little channel catfish nibbling? You might get just a little indication, and then all of a sudden that rod will dang near touch the water. It'll go bow down. Now, so I think, I know, and I know these catfish are like a pack of wolves. I really believe that they're trailing that scent trail with all those baits. What's your thoughts on that, Tony?
They are. I mean, that's how they find it.
Yeah,
they're smelling it and trailing it, and a lot of times them little fish are peckering around on them baits. Can taking a little bite here and there. You'll see a little action on the rod tip, and don't amount to much, and it don't get me out of my chair.
Yeah,
I just keep sitting there and watching it, and of course I think fish are competitive eaters. I think any time that big fish is coming along, smelling that bait, trying to find it, now little fish might be there nibbling around on it, but then all of a sudden that pole bends the water. That's when a big one come along and just took the bait. And took it down and took off with it.
Right. That's where I think fishing for channel catfish over baited holes. I mean, how common is it to catch a 2-pound channel cat or whatever, that looks like he's had a golf ball stuffed down his gullet. You know, he's just so full of punch bait, of Tony P's punch bait that you make. He's eat so much, or grain that you've baited him in there with. But I think they get aggressive. You know, you got a big school of them down there. I think it probably just, you know, competition. They say, wait a minute, if I don't get this one, somebody else is going to eat it, you know. So I do think that's kind of an odd subject, but I do believe that's part of it. I think those catfish are competitive, and they see some food there, they're going to grab it before old Joe or Harry gets it, you know.
I think that's just Mother Nature at work, because if you got an aquarium full of fish, you drop a worm in there, and things they'll go crazy. One gets it, and the rest will try and take it away.
I know. So. Yeah, what I like to do is cover the subjects that most people don't even talk about, and you're a good one to do it with me, because you being on the water all the time, day in and day out. I don't care what anybody says. That's the best teacher in the world. You learn things that. Another thing, we're about out of time for our segment, but one thing that I learned from you is, and I believe it too, fishing under cormorant roost. You know, standing timber, you'll see white droppings on there. Well, they do. The catfish do eat the droppings. I don't doubt that one bit. But you've caught them a bunch under these cormorant roosts that were no droppings. You'd see them full of that green moss that grows on that fertilized tree.
That's right.
Now that's
they
something.
Love it.
Yes, that's something. They're eating that moss, and who knows? It's probably got a lot of nutrients in it too. Maybe from the bird.
It's high protein. You know, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
They really love it. They eat it a lot. You know. Now the bigger ones, the great big fish under there, most time they got fish in their gut. But the smaller down, say under 10 pounders, they nearly always full of moss.
They're nibbling on that. Tony, we are. I wish we had more time.
You know.
Oh yeah, we're out of time. I wish we had about 4 hours to pick your brain, but it's catfish time at Lake Tawakoni, and tell people how to come out there and get with you and sack up some of those fillets, buddy.
Best thing to do is give me a call at 903-474-3078 for a fishing trip or to buy some Tony P's punch bait.
There you go. And, folks, any of my guests that's on the show, you know, you can go to catfishradio.org. That's the radio website. And email me. A lot of you do, and I'll pass the numbers along. Thank you a lot, Tony.
Thank you.
For about the past decade, I've been hunting editor for Air Gun Hobbyist magazine. I think the only magazine devoted strictly to air gun shooting and hunting in the country. Well, in that length of time, I've learned quite a bit about big bore air guns and smaller calibers too. A spot to go to that if you're interested in air guns, you need to know about Pyramid Air. The website is PYRAMYD, pyramidair.com. They have anything and everything you need, from the guns themselves, the big bores or the smaller calibers, to the accessories. Just remember pyramidair.com, and there's a number when you get on the website if you need to call and talk to somebody. Give them a buzz, and they can fill you in on little details that you might need to know about shooting or hunting with big bore air guns.
The snowflakes fall as winter comes, and time just seems to fly.
Friends, this segment is brought to us by CVA muzzleloaders. In my opinion, the very best muzzleloaders in the world, the ones that I shoot. You can check them out online, cva.com. Kubi's Wild Game Processing and Kubi's Restaurant in Dallas, and Vineyard Max, maker of some awesome deer attractant and some very fine game feeders and fish feeders, located down in Nacogdoches, Texas. Check them out at vineyardmax.net. Friends, this is Luke. I hope you've enjoyed our show thus far. I have enjoyed thoroughly visiting with all of our guests. I always learn something new from just about every conversation or every segment that we have on the show. Let's talk bow hunting a little bit. You know, advice is pretty cheap, but I'm going to tell you, we could call it advice, but just some things that I've learned through the years about bow hunting. For about, 15, 16 years, that's all I did for deer and hogs and elk is bow hunt. we actually, Larry Large, a good friend of mine, and I did an outfitting service up in Colorado, archery only for elk and bear for a number of years. So I'm pretty, grounded in bow hunting, but some basic tips that I'd like to share with you that, some people may not even think about. I don't know, but it's things that I've gleaned through years and years of bow hunting. Now, I still bow hunt quite often, but I also shoot big bore air guns, muzzle loaders, center fire. As an old outdoor rider, it behooves me to kind of stay proficient with a few different hunting tools, if you will. One thing that I do that some people don't do is the sight pin configuration on I shoot a compound bow a lot, and a gearhead. I use a gearhead. Those are awesome bows. I've been on several pro staffs in my life, but I've had this gearhead for probably 4 years. Never has it got out of adjustment. I mean, it's just rock solid. It's a great bow. The top pin, the green pin, is always, sight pin we're talking about, always more visible. I put it on top, and I sight my bow in for hunting at 25 yards. That top pin is dead on at 25 yards. So from actually 30 yards, which I try to shoot, 90% of the deer, whitetail deer I've killed, have been 25 yards or closer. I did shoot one up in North Dakota one time at the last minute of legal shooting light at 33 yards. That's the farthest I've ever killed a deer or shot at one. But I had everything was right on that shot. But why not have just one pin? So many people want a 20-yard pin, 30 or 40. Well, today's bows, folks, even set at 55 pounds, which is where mine is now. You don't need to worry about that. They shoot so flat that 25-yard pin, if you shoot it at the way mine is set up, my gearhead, if I shoot it at 30, it's only couple of inches lower. Now, you get on back to 35 and 40, then the trajectory begins to show up, and that arrow drops. So, but I found it easy to, in a hunting situation, when a deer comes up, just put that top pin, the 25-yard pin on him from 10 yards out to 30, and you don't have a problem. You don't have to worry about, is that the second pin or third? None of that. Now, I do shoot longer range, mostly for practice. I've got a pin set at 40, and I'll shoot out to there at 40. But basically, that top pin. Now, elk hunting, when I was guiding elk hunts and when we had the outfitting business up there in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, a lot of guys would come in shooting 50, 60 yards, and they were excellent shots. But I would always try to dissuade them from making long shots on elk. And I'm the same way with deer. Now, deer are a little bit more jumpy, is a good word, than elk. I mean, they're quick on their feet, and they can duck down and duck that arrow so easily. So, really, 25, 30 yards max is my barometer when I'm judging or shooting whitetail deer. But the top sight pin, that's a good thing to think about. Set it at 25, and you're good to go. So you might want to do that. You might want to stick with 20, 30, 40-yard pins, whatever works for you. But the green pin on top set at 25 works for old Luke. Here's another thought that I don't know, some of you may have thought about. Bow hunters, we hunt out of stands, pop-up ground blinds, ladder stands, lock-ons, whatever. These days, I hunt a lot on the ground with a pop-up blind or a ladder or a low ladder stand. I don't like to get up real high in the air. But leave a little bush or a little sapling or a bit of hedge or something out in front of your stand. That has helped me more times than ever. Now, you can't always do that because where you set up, there might not be any cover out in front. But, a lot of us hunt around feeders. I do. Well, the deer, when they come in, if you have a little cover there where they cannot see you draw, it gives you an excellent opportunity. If, say, one just comes in, you don't see him coming, and you don't have time to get ready, let him get behind that bush, draw your bow back, and then when he steps out, you got a good sight picture, you can shoot him. So having cover in front like that helps a lot. Now, the movement is required to bow hunt. You have to draw that bow. Now, if you're in a pop-up blind, of course, you can either move the bow from one side or the other of the window. You can draw down low, whatever. But I like to, when I think a deer's coming, and many times you'll hear the deer, you'll see a glimpse of antler through the woods or something, you'll see that deer approaching. I get the bow up in vertical position in front of me, and I don't move it around. I keep it real still, in shooting position, if you will. So when the time to draw comes, it's easy to make the mistake as soon as you see the deer to draw. Well, most of them are, 80% let off, or, the bow is when you draw it, the compound bows. But I like to wait until I know I'm about to shoot. And if that bow's up in a vertical position, the deer's looking off, or watch his body language, then pull back. Then pull your string back and you're ready to go. So that's another good tip. Have the bow up in vertical position as soon as you think a deer is going to be coming, so that's a real good tip. I know most of you experienced bow hunters know to do this. Practice with field points, yes. Most of us now shoot 100 grain. I used to shoot 125 grain field points and broadheads, but today's mechanical and fixed broadheads, 100 grains just holds, the trajectory holds up a little bit flatter, farther, and they'll get the job done. So you might want to think about, when you're practice with your field tips for sure, but always have one broadhead that you'll sacrifice, make sure it's not bent, a good one, but one that's not sharp or something wrong with it, whatever. So many mechanical broadheads you can lock down, and shoot them as practice areas. But my point is, shoot your broadheads, make sure they're flying like the field points. And most mechanicals, they do. To be honest with you, I've killed more deer with mechanical broadheads than I have fixed blade. Interlock makes some good broadheads. There's a variety of different styles that they make interlock. But there's a lot of good companies that make very dependable. I remember when mechanical broadheads came out, the first one that I ever heard of was called a punch cutter. I had a buddy, that's back in the day when you used overdraws. I wasn't a bow hunter back then. We're talking 30 years ago or more, probably 35 maybe. And my buddy David Dowling, he was a tech guy. He had his overdraw, and he said, "I've got these new broadheads. They're called punch cutters." Well, they were they were not good. Let's just put it that way. But mechanical broadheads have come a long, long way, and they're very effective. Like I say, I've killed majority of more deer with them once they started building good ones 25 years ago. Like I say, interlock makes an awesome one. You need to check those out if you haven't, chose a broadhead to hunt with. So, folks, that's about it. Gosh, here in Texas, it's been so hot in early bow season, but I've got a bow, 2 or 3 places to hunt with a bow, and I'm locking in as this recording is taking place. I've got going up to Grayson County to hunt with my buddy Bill Carey early in the morning, see if we can get one of those old Grayson County bucks. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed our show. It's been fun. Do remember that after all of our great radio stations runs this show, it becomes a podcast, and you can listen to it during the week. Just wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, iHeart, any of those places, Apple, you can check it out. Catfish Radio with Luke Clayton and friends. Folks, we're out of time. Thanks for being with me. Tune in next week. We're going to have a bunch more fun talking hunting and fishing. Folks, that about wraps our show up for this week. I've enjoyed being with you, and I hope you've had a good time, too. And, folks, we're also brought to you by the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma, located about, 45 minutes west of Hugo, Oklahoma, owned by the Choctaw Nation. It's about 45,000 acres of awesome mountain, country, hills, valleys, loaded with game. Lots of eastern turkey, and they do eastern turkey hunts if you're looking for a spot to hunt turkey in the spring.